had almost no inflation, and yet I charged hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs to countries. And think of it, I had almost no inflation, and I took in $600 billion of money from other countries. And tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success, cause big success. So we're going to have great success.
The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In a second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
Hey guys, Carlos Cortez here with another episode of Scriptures in Wall Street. Man, it's a great week. It's a great day. I hope you are blessed. I hope God is just inspiring you to see more clearly in your life as you personally grow. One thing I teach my coachees, because I coach, lifestyle coach. One thing I teach my coachees is that the more responsibility we take, the more freedom we have. So if your house is a wreck, it's on you. If your car is broken down, it's on you. If you decide to get in the car and someone hits you, it's actually your fault. You took the risk. You took the risk to get in the car, and you knew the risk and you just bypassed it, knowing, hey, as soon as I turn a key or pushed a button to start, you actually have taken the risk, and you're okay with that risk subconsciously to basically get into a risky situation. It's very rare, but it does happen more often than not. And so when we take this responsibility, we actually have freedom. We don't have to live by the edicts of whatever is being scared in the media. Supposedly, we took a risk not taking the vaccine, right? You guys remember that? Well, I didn't get vaccinated. I don't think you did either, if you're listening to this, to be quite frank. And we took that media risk, and we took the risk of, hey, maybe we are weird. Maybe we are different. Maybe that's my personality. But you know what? There's something called medical freedom that we're exercising, and we just don't want to be a part of that. So we took responsibility. And now we see people, unfortunately, we've seen many athletes pass away, like in really, really good shape. I used to be in that shape when I played college soccer. And let me tell you, to be able to perform at that level, you are in prime tip-top shape. And to have people just die suddenly, over 1,000 athletes in, what was it, 2021, 2022, I forget. But there was a lot of athletes that just randomly had a heart attack. Now, the pro-vaccine people say, well, we don't know the long-term effects of COVID. Either way you look at it, we take a risk. We take a risk. So everything in life is risk, as well as your investments. And unfortunately, with the Black Hawk Down situation on these innocent, beautiful figure skater teams, my heart goes out to them. My heart rips for them because, as you guys know, I'm very partial to that because my little girls skate, and they want to travel. They want to travel to competition. So when I found out that it was a figure skater team, I literally was just like crying because I can envision my daughter being on that plane, or me being on a plane with my daughters and my wife and kids. So prayers to all involved. My heart goes out to them. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about if it was a setup, if it was a distraction. But I do have to mention that it does not add up. It does not add up. Like I've never heard anything like this. And there's videos going viral with the tail numbers of VIP. with the actual Black Hawk person being someone different. um, and then you have the helicopter dropping 400 feet or something crazy of that nature. I'm not a pilot. I can't really speak on it, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why the air traffic controller would be having the two same jobs in and out when they should only be focused on one, incoming or outgoing planes. So there's a lot of problems there. Um, and I don't want to get into the rabbit hole with that, but use your discernment, use your common sense, and common sense is like powerful. Like that's what we're all about. And that's what everything should be. And just know what the media is telling you is not always the truth. And I think you already know that. But what I do want to say is that, and on this show, we're going to promote God's love. We're going to promote the cross. We're going to promote the truth. And if we offend anyone with the truth, that's not my problem. That's your problem. Let me say my disclosure here. My disclosure is I am a financial advisor. Everything on his podcast is for education and information purposes only. We are not giving investment advice. However, we will be talking about educational and information financial commentaries. So if you would like a financial plan, if you would like financial advice, if you would like to reallocate your portfolio so that it matches the Trump agenda or the new administration, give me a call. 813-448-3446. I myself won't pick up. I have an assistant that picks up and she schedules it according to our calendar and our podcast shows. But we want to help God-fearing patriots. We want to help you. You do not have to be stuck in the rut of saying, hey, it's okay. You got to be in equities. You got to be in Tesla. You got to be in cash. Whatever your advisor is telling you, we want to offer a whole nother perspective that I feel that you would benefit from because we are different. We are aligned with what you believe in. It's very important. It's very important to have an advisor that believes with you, not just politically, but spiritually, medically, financially, socially. It creates real conversations. We understand you. We breathe just like you. We think just like you. We are spirit led just like you. And we want to do the right thing by all costs. So, anyways, if that's you, give us a call. You can visit us at cortezwm.com. I also wrote a book for anyone that is a current client. I will send it to you. No problem. I'll sign it. But if you have a conversation with us, all you got to do is just let us know and we'll send it to you. I'll even sign it. It's a book I wrote called America First Retirement Plan. Basically, we talk about why people's money isn't safe. We talk about CBDCs, the FDICs. The financial world isn't transparent. An example, the FDIC and the CBDCs. Investments are just not being in America anymore. And we're funding economies like China. Well, I'm pretty sure Trump is going to have a field day with all of this. So much to talk about. So much to talk about. You know, my devotions the other day, I really got impacted on why we are even here. What is our aim? What is the whole point of all this? What is the actual point? Like if you were going to the woods and ask yourself, God, why am I here? What do you want me to know? What can I do for you? I guarantee you, if you go in the woods and ask God those three questions, that Holy Spirit will knock you over that bench stool or your chair or whatever you use to sit down in the woods and journal. It's extremely powerful. Like, it's not even a conversation about money anymore. It's bigger. And so money is just like a tool. It is just a temporary tool that will last our lifetime, which is like a vapor in the air, our lifetime, according to God's word. We are just a vapor, man. And we are called in this limited time to be an impact. To be an impact. If we are not impacting people like the salt, like the light, brother, sister, we are going to be judged. I don't know all the questions, but I know one daggone thing God's going to say is, what'd you do for me? What did you do for me? And I want to be able to have an account of my life and say, God, I risked it. You know, I was an impact to people to lead you to the cross, to lead them to you. I am a sinner. However, by your grace, I know I'm healed. And I want to be able to, I don't think we can look God in the eye, but I want to be able to be present and say that I've done everything. And I want to hear the words, well done, my faithful servant. And once you know you have those words in your heart and that your name is written in the book of life, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter about your agenda. Doesn't matter who crossed you, who's evil. You're the one that got in the car and took the risk to getting hit. You took responsibility. You took responsibility. My agenda doesn't matter. It is the cross that supersedes everything, period. It is a cross. And so the example that I give is that triangle example where we have our experiences on a bottom corner, our life skills on the other, our knowledge and our skills, and on the top is a mission. And when we have our life skills and we utilize our knowledge and our experience, and we head to the mission, whatever that mission is, it's got to go through the cross. The cross is in the middle at all times, at all costs. And once we start going away from the cross to hit our mission, all hell breaks loose. You are out of God's covering. This is why I say your spiritual life shows up in a financial way. Your financial life shows up in a spiritual way. It's all correlated. It's all correlated. I got an email, some hate email saying, "You're wrong, brother. That's not biblical, blah, blah, blah." And I haven't had a chance to respond, and I will, and you know who you are. And it offend you. My question is, why does it offend you? And why do you feel like you have to use scripture to justify your understanding? My convictions is not your convictions, and vice versa. However, to say I don't know God, that's very ignorant. Tell that to people that I help worship lead on Sundays. And when I worship lead on Mondays for addicts. But whatever. Some people are just stuck in their ways. And so what I want really, more importantly, is kind of clear the air here. Is that we want to make sure that our money is protected. And is that this show will never be a show of hate, ever. This show will always preach God's love, God's promises, God's mindset. And sometimes it's not, actually many times it's not comfortable. And that's okay. And that's okay. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This verse encourages Christians to think in a way that we align with God's will rather than the world's standards. And so I want to make sure that we are talking about God's grace at all times. And I don't care what network I'm on. I don't care what associations I may or may or not have. It is not our job to judge other people. It's not our job to cast hate or anger at anyone. Because the battle is already won. God doesn't need me to kill people. He can do it with a blinking of an eye. He doesn't need me to hate somebody else. He really doesn't. And if anyone was to hate anybody, it would be Jesus himself. If he was capable of hating anybody. The guy was so strong. Wow, that's tough to say. The guy was so strong. People forget about his physical strength. He was so strong that when they beat him up with the spike whip, his flesh was flying off. There was no flesh on him. The whips alone destroyed his skin. To add spikes on the whips is even worse. And then he physically had to carry a 300-400 pound cross up Calvary. They put 9-inch nails through his wrist and feet. They crucified him. At that point, I would have said, I would have just completely just went ape on everybody. He had the right to hate the Jews, the Romans, and anyone involved in his killing. He had the right. And then they take a crown of like 3-inch thorns from a dead rose bush. They wrap it around, and they're strong as heck, strong as nails. And they dig it in his cranium, where literally his brain is penetrated. And he's still alive, by the way. He's still alive. In pain and agony that we would never, ever know. He says the most beautiful, most gracious words. Luke 23:34. He says, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. Where Jesus says, while on the cross, asking God to forgive those who are crucifying him, implying that they don't fully understand the gravity of their actions. It is the most beautiful thing to have a Savior who was human, came as a human, and didn't even act like a human. He couldn't. He was incapable of. And to not act like that, to not want to mimic that, it's a sin. This is why we cannot hate Jewish, the Romans. This is now we cannot hate others. If we have hate in our heart, we cannot inherit the kingdom. So this show will always promote the cross, and will always promote Romans 12:2, renewing of the mind. It takes a renewing of the mind to think straight, to think godly. Now, am I a sinner? Absolutely. I have my own struggles, guys. But one thing I do know is my conviction. And this isn't a Carlos Cortez show. This is a financial show. I just am really passionate about the cross. And so what if I didn't start with the markets? And so what if I would just want to talk about God? Because at the end of the day, our life's a vapor. You will die. That is absolute truth. And it's paramount that we understand this going into this. As Trump knocks in this anti-Semitism bill and people are getting offended and they want to use the white supremacist tag like they did on Kash Patel. They even mentioned the network. I wanted to clear the air there. I like Kash. I like how eloquently he says that he's just there to tell the truth and basically balance what's a myth and what's not a myth. And I agree. I'm the same way here. We just want to basically be a resource. But one thing that we will not do is our integrity is not for sale. And we will always love the cross. We will not promote hate. Sorry, I just had to share that. And, when I was in my devotion the other day, it just was prevalent that I needed to talk about that. Let me go to other things that matter, which is your retirement. All right. So, yeah, we got Bitcoin coming down. We have gold that's on a negative trend pattern. That means the market's probably up. Let's take a look real quick. So here goes our TMF. Oh boy, look at TMF rising. You guys know what time it is there, right? We got all green traffic lights. So that means this thing is about to pop off. Woohoo! Finally. TMF trading at 41.76. It's starting to turn, guys. It's starting to turn at TMF, which is the Treasury, 20-year Treasury, 3 times the leverage. Again, this is not a stock recommendation. This is something that I'm letting you know to be out on the look for. For those of you that like Tesla, here we go. We have massive trend popping off a green cloud. Short-term, midterm, long-term momentum. We took a little dip back in late December. It kind of had a little bump in January. The momentum got a little dicey there, weakened, but it's starting to turn the corner where it is actually going to pop up again. For those of you that can't afford Tesla, I actually like TSLL a little better if you're talking about stocks, because this is leveraged twice. And again, this is for people that want to risk money. This would be red money column. And you'd probably would buy here because of that dip, that recent dip we had. We could buy here. And this target honestly could go to, let's pan out. See that little dip we had here? It could go to easily 40. And then from there, we could hit some resistance and it'll come back down. The typical pattern of a high demand stock. But this is the ETF. It can go to cash, a portion of it, but it's 2 times Tesla. And so if the market goes up 10%, you would go 20. If the market goes down, or this stock goes down 30%, you would go down 60%. So it is risky. And this is not meant for someone that wants to put retirement in. You will lose money with the swings on this. This is something that has a drawdown of, 30, 40%. But for those of you trying to build capital, you could dollar cost average in something like this and literally take this off. There are going to be robots in the future, guys. So Tesla will go up. And I know you guys don't like this, but robots are the future. AI is the future. Yeah. And so I want to take a look at gold real quick, because gold's been funny lately. So I've been day trading gold actually at night and in the morning, and you don't really see it in this chart. This is a daily, but on a 4-hour, you may see it. Let's see what it looks like on a 4-hour. Yeah, so it was like Monday, it went down. Tuesday, it started going down in anticipation of the Fed announcement with the rates not doing anything. Went up and then went down just a hair. You see that little red dot, and it's going back up. So we are trading close to 2,800 on gold, which is pretty powerful. Gold is up like 40% in the past 12 months. Pretty killer. I think what's going to happen with gold is that it could hit 3,000. and then it come crashing down like a commodity when they crash the markets on Trump. So right now it's just in its own world right now. But S the S&P 500, I want to pan over to there real quick. And the S&P 500 is looking healthy right now. There is a potential touch and go pattern here where, quite frankly, if we hit a certain level, I was waiting for this to possibly come down, turn around, and get a good 10% correction, but it's blowing past that level. And if I go to my other charts, let's see here. I'll leave this. So I'm going to switch charts real quick. So we're getting a low ADX here. So actually a pattern, which is pretty interesting, is that we're getting a pattern here. And we're also getting kind of like a triangle pattern, like an upside down right triangle flag pattern. So typically what happens, guys, is that whenever we get this type of pattern and this low ADX, we'll see a breakout. Now that breakout, it could go a certain way. It could actually, it literally could just take off depending where this breakout calendar goes. Could head down. So if it does this number, bounces back, can hit that and go down, or it could bounce back, and then really just take off. And then if that's the point, I'll go over here to my sizing tool and we'll put this here, and we could probably have another target on. Have another target here. And we could see a basic like 3-to-1 on this. 4-to-1, but I like to do a 3-to-1 to be sure. Or we could see, I mean, we legit could see a 6,500 S&P 500 on the S&P. It could just bounce right back into there, and obviously we have a stop loss. But this is for people that are trading. It should be interesting to see how this all pans out. What's another one that we get a lot of calls on? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this puppy. Woo! Low ADX popping up. I like it. And we're getting some patterns here. But guys, I'm telling you, man, this is this whenever I get these white markers on the low ADX, that means it's going to have a breakout. We have great momentum. Oscillator RSI index is basically on the middle. We should see a pop off here. I mean, the trend overall has been massive. I mean, we're seeing some bullish trend here. Bullish trend. I like it. And the NASDAQ moves very healthily. So speaking of the NASDAQ has yielded, by the way, let me stop sharing this. By the way, the NASDAQ is already up almost over 1.5% year to date going into February. Last year in 2024, it did 28%. The year before that, it did 43%. It took a hit in 22, 21. It did 21%. 2020 did 43. 2019 did 35. And actually, when Trump got in 2016 to 2020, you can do the math real quick. Got 43 at 35. So that's 88% plus 28. Wow. Just insane what I'm about to tell you. So 2016, 7.5. Let's just calculate it. 7.5, 28.24 plus 35.23. 77. Oh, we got to add the negative 3.98 or 88. So that's 67. And then 2020, 43.64. Guys, that's over 110% since Trump got in 2016 to 2020. So when we see this NASDAQ, when we go back to the NASDAQ chart, I legitimately can tell you that this is posed to do possibly another 100% return in 4 years. Now, the green money accounts that we have, no joke, you can get 120% of this index with no fees as long as you're okay with having access to 10%. You will never lose anything with an A-rated carrier. We can hit up every state except for we can hit up every state except for North Carolina, my old home state. And this is such a huge, huge protection for clients that want to have equity returns, but want to insure their money as well. As long as you're okay with having access to 10%, this is paramount for most retirements. You got to have growth. You got to have growth. But Trump is in. He is going to put the iron fist down. The markets will respond. And historically, they have, and they've done very well. Now, I can't base future predictions off past performances. I'm not indicative of future results. You guys know that. However, we can go off history. We can kind of go off technical analysis, and we can have the ability to actually lock in gains that are anti-CBDC, that will protect your principal, that will give you the ability to have this safe money conversation at your Sunday barbecue, because that's when all this stuff happens, when you hit the brother-in-law or someone in church and they brag about their Tesla stock. Well, you could actually brag about locking in gains in a safe money account that is not in the banking system, that actually is yours, that actually has a contractual guarantee that your principal is protected, period. Just so you know, I personally do this myself, and just on 50 grand in 20 years with no fees and 120% par rate. Now, those rates are not going to be that high forever, but even at 100%, my account is mathematically projected to do over 1.5 million in 20 years. I'm 41. So I'm okay retiring at 60, 61. I mean, as long as I can keep on podcasting and have ability to generate revenue and advisor fees, I'll do this forever. I mean, I enjoy what I do. I'll do this forever. I'll enjoy what I do. But what I want to do is I want to help all of America. I want to help God-fearing patriots that understand this, that want to be a part of this movement, the freedom movement, the America First retirement plan movement. This movement is bigger than me. Like, it is time to realign our money to honor the cross, honor our faith, honor our values. And guess what? We still get to win. We still get to win. So, hey, if that's you, I'd love to talk to you. I want to talk about something that's pretty cool. So you guys have noticed, I've gotten emails, calls, like, Carlos, what are you doing? You look good. You look good. And I grow out my beard. But one thing I am doing is peptides. And so for those of you that are on Ozempic and Mounjaro, this is not medical advice, but the synthetics are actually bad for you. They eat your muscle, and it's terrible. So this is why people on Ozempic and Mounjaro, they look weak, and because it actually messes up your body to the point where it eats your muscles, and so it basically rejects all your nutrients, and it attacks your muscle. Up until now, recently there's a plant-based company that's American first. It's coming off the ground. Make Wellness. You can go to getmeleanusa.com, get you some plant-based peptides. It'll help you lose weight. It's natural. It's the natural form of Ozempic, actually, what it's supposed to do. It'll burn your fat. They even have peptides to help you go to sleep at night, to calm, to regenerate. And I also recommend the Fit, which is a great drink that builds muscle. So you'll see my transformation as well as hundreds of other people. You'll see Stu's transformation, mine, and it's through obviously diet, fasting, movement, right? Getting out there. And look, you don't need to like kill yourself in a gym. You can just go out and walk 10,000 steps a day. It's 2 15-minute walks a day at any time. You will lose a lot of weight. For those of you that are men, get rid of the belly fat. Look masculine. Like it's time to just shaping up, man. For your wife, for your family, you want your kids to look at you as a superhero. And I'm personally walking through this myself. I was a fat guy just over a year ago. I'm down 60 pounds, and most of it is through diet and exercise. But having peptides does help. Um, Plant-based peptides, not the synthetic garbage that big pharma is pushing down people. As you guys know, I was diabetic, and so I needed to lower my blood sugar, and I'm reversed. So I don't no longer am. My A1C is 5.3. It was high as 10, and I didn't even know it. So go to getmeleanusa.com, get you some peptides. They're affordable. They're not cheap, but they are affordable, and your life will change. I mean, your physicality will look different. I mean, I'm a perfect example. I only talk about products that I take and that I can put my name behind. And so just get healthy, man. Like the crap that we eat, the plastics that we consume, the shedding that's out there, the chemtrails, like it's all here to destroy us. But finally, American made company that's coming off the ground. I want to help them, honestly, because what they stand for, um, they're all a bunch of Christian men trying to do the right thing and get people off of the obesity problem, get people re-educated about the Ozempics and Majoros of the world, how it's killing your body, when there's actually a natural substance that could transform the way you look and transform the way you feel. Just look at me and my before and afters and all these people here. Anyways, go to getmeleanusa.com. That's my little ad for today. More importantly, seriously, if you need help with your retirement, go to cortezwm.com. We want to help you. Download our free guide at americafirstretirementplan.com. Don't forget to please go to my Rumble, go to Rumble and type in scriptures and Wallstreet, click like and follow. I promise you I will be delivering off-the-cuff content with my family. I'm not charging anything. I just want a follower there so that we can build that regardless. Love you guys. God bless. Keep Christ first in everything that you do, and all these things will be added upon you. Later, I'm out.